Well, I think we're ready to get started for this deep dive. It's Monday morning, the 29th of April. I had to look down and check that, but we've got a great topic this morning. I think it's one that comes up a lot these days, and it's all around Gen Z and will I be able to buy a home? That is a topic that is, in the media, maybe, folks talking about it. So excited to get the week kicked off talking about that, to give you, sort of a deeper dive on this so that you can be the most educated agent, share things, and engage people on these topics. So Gen Z, will I be able to buy a home? This is a topic that's near and dear to my heart. I've got three Gen Zers, one that's going to be a senior in college next year, one that'll be a sophomore in college next year, and then one that will be a junior in high school. My youngest, she will be a junior next year, and all of them wonder this question: will I be able to buy a home? And I think there's so much information out there that oftentimes is not accurate, about this topic, like is the case in so many things. And I wanted to spend just a few minutes and give you some facts around this topic, so that you're armed with that and have these, so that you can have these conversations. So I'm going to share my screen. We're going to get started on this deep dive. The question of the day: will I be able to buy a home for Gen Z? And we're going to kind of break it down over the next few minutes. I'm going to give you everything we have, a couple of resources as well, to engage people with, that, it will help them, whether they're Gen Z or not, be able to buy a home. And so excited about that. If this is a topic that you've talked to other people about, share this deep dive, maybe tag somebody on it that needs to hear this, or, is interested in this, maybe even somebody, that's Gen Z that is interested in this topic. Just as way of sort of background, Gen Z, the population right behind millennials, anybody born between 1997 2012, these blue bars right here, roughly, kids from 10 years old up to young adults, up to almost 25 years old, is Gen Z right now. And certainly that is the population in this country that is sort of heading towards home ownership. Not there yet. We know the millennial generation is in their peak home buying years and making up a lot of that. But what's right behind them is Gen Z. And there's this question, this topic of, will I be able to buy a home? And there's a significant number of people that are coming up wondering that. I think it's something we need to be educated on. If you think about breakdown of population in this country, this is a look across each one of the generations right now. But Gen Z, millennials, Gen X, and baby boomers roughly make up about 20% of the population in each one of those categories, with millennials being the largest of those. And so while it's not dominating transactions right now, it's sort of on the horizon. Gen Z coming up and wanting to buy a home right now is on the horizon. So it's a topic we need to be interested in. It's a topic that we need to be educated in, so that we can help them the best way. So why do they feel this way? Well, I think there's some factual evidence to point to say, hey, there are real reasons that Gen Z wonders if they will be able to buy a home. One of those reasons is this right here: the average monthly mortgage payment in this country. This is a look at principal and interest payments from 2019 till now, essentially doubled. Back in 2019, the average mortgage payment in this country, a little over $1,000. Today, a little over $2,000. But, no doubt it has gotten more expensive to buy a home. As expenses have risen, people have gone, you know what? And there's been a lot of information out there that's basically said to Gen Z, you won't be able to buy a home, and you've been sold a lie, and all the things that lead into that. I was having a conversation with one of my kids this weekend, and one of the things that's tacked onto this is this because Wall Street's buying up all the homes in this country? And we've covered that on the deep dive several times. And if you haven't seen that, go back and grab that. Maybe it's even a topic that we need to refresh and do on the deep dive. But no doubt there are questions about, can I buy a home due to the rising cost of owning a home in this country? But here's what I know: 63% of Gen Zers, according to Bankrate, say they associate owning a home with the American dream. So they want to buy a home. They're very interested in it. We've talked a lot about on the deep dive, and we're certainly keeping current matters, that homeownership is the number one way that people build wealth in this country. Gen Z says, I want to own a home. We believe it's the American dream. Just wondering if we can. Well, Chase, the large bank, did an article. It was based on a study, and they said this: the turbulent economy of the last few years has left more than a few people wondering, will Gen Z be able to afford houses? And the short answer, and good news there, is yes. Despite some potential trepidation surrounding homeownership, first-time homebuyers who were born between 1997 and 2012 may have cause for optimism. Why is that? They go on, they say this: the path to Gen Z homeownership may have its own share of challenges, and it does, but that's not stopping them, they're nicknamed Zoomers, from buying homes. In fact, some Gen Z real estate trends are pointing in an optimistic direction. According to a recent study from a major real estate brokerage, about 30% of 25-year-olds own their homes in 2022, 2 to 3% ahead of both millennials and Gen X at the same time. So a little bit ahead, according to this study and according to this information from Chase, and I think it's coming out of a Redfin study, but a couple of percentage points ahead of their counterparts before them, which is good news. You don't oftentimes hear that in media. I'll continue on this. Money.com said, using data from the U.S. Census current population survey, Redfin found that roughly 26.3% of Gen Zers between 19 and 25 owned a home in 2023, while that rate is pretty much unchanged from the previous year's 26.2. Gen Zers in this range are still outpacing the last two generations. So here's what we know. Gen Z faces some challenges that maybe other generations haven't, or in a different way, but we know they are buying. We know that they're, according to this study from Redfin, are outpacing prior generations by a couple of percentage points. And while it's not making up the entirety of the market, it certainly, they are out there. According to NAR's profile of home buyers and sellers, in 2023, about 5% of transactions were Gen Zers. So remember, I said it's on the horizon, sort of that wave is coming. 3% of buyers and 2% were sellers. Now, they face challenges, and I'm going to kind of go through some of the challenges that they face, and then I'm going to get into what can we specifically do about that. But no doubt, challenges for home ownership in Gen Z. Home prices. We've seen the dramatic rise in prices through the years of COVID, the unicorn years that we've called them here at Keeping Current Matters, and that's been an obstacle. Inflation. The world around us has just gotten more expensive, which makes it harder to save. It makes it harder for a lot of things. That's a challenge for Gen Z home ownership. Competition. I've oftentimes said there are fewer homes in this country than the number of people that want to go out and buy a home. It's made it's harder to buy a home right now, and certainly over the last several years, it has been the case in real estate, where there's been enormous competition. For student loan debt. Many folks coming out of school with student loan debt that, is a burden for them. And lastly, credit score requirements, not having the credit profile needed to go out and borrow the money on a mortgage to buy a home. And I think all of these things are things that, if you're working with somebody who's Gen Z, if you have kids that are Gen Z, or if you're just trying to help folks that are out there trying to buy a home or educate themselves, this is content right now that I'll guarantee you get it out there in the market, it will engage people and get them started. But being able to navigate these things is what is no doubt critical to folks that are in that category that want to buy a home. Bankrate said this: as Gen Z copes with lower earnings, costlier goods, and student loan debt, many have opted to stop renting and live with family in order to boost their savings. 30% of Gen Z homebuyers moved directly from their family member's home to a home of their own, according to NAR. So what do we know? If you're in that category, you're working with somebody in that category, a way that they can make their way forward is maybe moving in with a family member where they can have a lower or maybe very little cost of living and renting in order to save money for a down payment. I think thinking that way and thinking about what are all the ways that you can educate yourself and think about strategies to be able to go out and buy a home are what we need to do. Some of the tips that Chase in that article that I mentioned before brought up were upping your financial literacy. Thinking about what are the loan products that are available right now to folks that are out there in this category. Start saving, start sooner than you need to save. Keep an open mind and go out there and look, and don't just listen to what's maybe said in the media. Educate yourself and do your research ultimately on what it looks like to buy a home right now. And I'm going to give you a resource here in just a minute, but there's no doubt that there are options, there are ways to educate yourself. And I think all of us that are in the business right now, this is an area where we can make a difference in people's lives. We can make a difference in people's lives that are wondering, can I buy a home right now? Director's Mortgage said this: the path to home ownership may not be a straightforward one for Gen Z, but it's undoubtedly within reach. That would be my message to people. It is within reach. By adopting the right strategies like exploring down payment assistance programs and sharing living costs with relatives, you can bring your dream of owning a home closer to reality. Don't forget to engage a reliable mortgage expert to guide you through this exciting journey. Your dream home is closer than you think. One of the things that our team did a video on mortgage rates right now. And there are two things that are true about mortgage rates. Kate's going to cover this next week. One, you need to stay connected to a source of information, meaning everybody watching the deep dive right now. And two, you need a mortgage professional that you can partner with, that you can lock arm in arm with and help people understand what it takes to buy a home in this market. No doubt we're in a volatile market. Things are happening on a 24-hour cycle that sometimes in our business would take 6 or 12 months. But having a great partner right now is no doubt the key. Some Gen Zers expect in the mortgage process to receive a cash gift. According to Redfin, more than 1/3 of Gen Zers and millennials who plan to buy a home expect to receive a cash gift from family to help fund their down payment. So a lot of folks saying, hey, I want to go out and buy, or saying, hey, can I get money from a family member to help me do that? Matter of fact, right here, this shows Gen Zers, 80% of them had down payment help. So it's not out of reach, And I know that's not an option for everyone. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is a lot of people that are out there that are doing it are getting help. And so that's the question. If you're in that category right now, is that an option for you? If it's not, there are other options, but it's something to look at relative to, your opportunity to buy a home. Probably one of the best resources that I know is to really educate yourself on loan products and then advantages for down payment assistance. And I'll give you a resource here. Down payment assistance programs that help people buy are critically important right now. There's a resource that I want to give to you, and you can write this down, or if you're a KCM member, you can go in and grab this in the slides, but downpaymentresource.com. Downpaymentresource.com is a phenomenal resource for understanding what's available. Rob Crane and the group there do a phenomenal job of really aggregating everything that's available to a potential buyer, not just for a Gen Z, not just for a first-time home buyer, but anybody thinking about buying. What are the grants? What are the down payment, options? What are the things that are available to people? There's over 2,000 resources at Down Payment Resource that are, home ownership programs across the country. 39% of the programs are for repeat buyers, not just, first-time buyers. In that last box there, 75% of down payment programs provide down payment and closing cost assistance to new home buyers. So if I understand the loan products, I educate myself on what are the down payment resources that I could access in my area. It kind of sort of, divides them by area, and you say, this is where I'm at, and here are the programs that are available to me. It is a phenomenal resource. I hope you'll go there and use it. and share it with people that you're working with so that they can educate themselves about the down payment options and the down payment advantages that are available in your area. Because I think when Gen Z thinks about going out and buying a home, they've got to think differently. It's not that it's out of reach, it's that you have to think differently about how you're going to afford it. What's the down payment going to look like? How are you going to navigate all the obstacles of rising home prices, inflation, all the things that you have? If you have student debt, how do you navigate that? And there are ways that you can navigate that to become a homeowner. You know, John Burns Consulting said this, at their core, Gen Z still aspires to home ownership, and that will happen later for them because housing affordability is a big challenge. I will change that quote slightly and say it may happen a little bit later, but no doubt if someone that is in the Gen Z demographic, in the Gen Z generation, you can absolutely buy a home. You know, one of the things that sort of affects this is the mortgage rates and all that's happening there. You know, we've got a lot happening this week that Kate will give you next week. The Fed's decision, the impact on mortgage rates. You're going to want to be here on the deep dive next week, next Monday at 11, and share it with others, maybe in your office or people that you know, so that they can be on, because this will be a topic that you're going to want to have the information on. We'll be back next week to do that. As always, I'm grateful for everybody that joins the deep dive to start their week talking about the best topics, the most important topics in real estate today. And again, I'll wrap this way. If you know somebody that is in the Gen Z generation, certainly their options for home ownership are alive and well. We can help them achieve the dream of home ownership. Well, let's get this message out there and let's help people that are looking to buy a home today. So we'll wrap on that, and I won't see you for a couple of weeks, but we'll be back soon. All right, take care.